Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as always, back on F1 2019, and we are here for TSRL Round 5 at Monaco, and I will put the current standings up right now on the screen. I am currently behind Jam Pancakes because I did not, although it wasn't a horrendous result, I didn't have a great result at Spain, and he has been well and truly on form recently. So coming into this, you can see for a start I've gone back to my old wheel, and simply I just feel much more comfortable in this. And I knew round Monaco you have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then you're not going to do well at all. And traditionally I've never had that strong raw pace around here, but I always seem to get quite good results, and that's mainly because I'm just consistent and I don't get any damage or penalties. So that was what I was really relying on coming to this. And you can see the first lap wasn't that great, used the same set of tyres and then improved my lap and was safely through Q1 into Q2. But you can see now in Q2 there is rain scheduled in 5 minutes, and you can't really trust this game too much because 5 minutes could be instantly. So we were too busy really daydreaming, looking at that, and as a result of that, I'm being first car in the pit lane as well. Everyone else has already gone out, and I'm just taking far too long for me to go out. And just a heads up, this video is probably going to be quite a long video, so if you do enjoy watching long league racing videos, I can get my words out right, then make sure you strap in because it's going to be a long one. It's quite a lot of stuff goes on in this, but I really wanted to include as much raw footage as possible, which I always say to give you a true perspective of what's really is going on if you didn't catch the live stream. But you can see we are last car out the pit lane, and that means, you know, it's already started to rain already, as you can see, and this is not good because that means I'm probably going to have the least amount of benefit, least amount of grip out of anyone starting a lap, and you're probably only going to be able to do one lap. So this one lap is really going to determine if I get through into Q3, and qualifying is so crucial around here. You have to get a good one, so it is all or nothing now, and I really have not put myself in a good position. But going into turn 1, it's crucial that we just have to do the best lap I possibly can at this point here. And the first turn is not a bad one, it's actually pretty good here, but we've still got some grip, but we're definitely going to have less grip than all the cars ahead of me because I will be the last car going across the line, and the track is just getting wetter and wetter at this point. But you can see first sector actually felt pretty nice here so far, but we are actually already starting to catch a few cars, and you can see there's a little bit of a traffic jam ahead of me, but I was just entirely focused on just getting a lap in, and also a lap that is not invalidated, because if I invalidate this, it's probably likely the next lap is just going to be too slow no matter how good it is. And you can see someone's already gone straight on. We managed to navigate the chicane pretty nicely here and try not to get distracted from the car ahead, just fully focused on what I have to do. And so far, although we are kissing the walls, we have done a purple middle sector if the delta is right, but nonetheless the lap feels pretty good as we almost lose the car there. But going to here, I was just so focused and just making sure I don't spin, because the grip is just going every single second as we almost lose the car once again. But going across the line, it is a 1:19.1 if I can read that right, and that was crucial, and that has put me P2. And honestly, since I was the last car to start the lap, that was a seriously good lap, and I was really happy with that, because you can see it started to rain for the remainder of the session, and that was good enough for me to get through. My rival Jam Pancakes falling at that hurdle, coming in P14 because he invalidated his lap, and if I did the same, I could have been starting back there with him. So now we're into Q3, and it was a wet qualifying session, and I had prepared for the wet conditions as well. So I was feeling pretty optimistic with this. Really optimistic. And if you need to take a risk in qualifying, because if you don't, you could be starting lower down, and around here you just do not want to be out of position, and you can't really afford to. So I knew I had to get in the top 3 to give myself a chance of winning this race. But coming over this first lap, it felt pretty decent this stage. Honestly, I was pretty happy with this. So coming across the line, what's it going to be? It's going to be a 120.7. And yeah, I was pretty satisfied with that. And that puts me on provisional pole at this moment in time. But moving on to starting my last lap here, you can see Dominic has actually taken pole position. But I am still in P2. But I did know that there was a little bit of time left on the table. There wasn't a whole bunch of time. But I knew there was probably maybe 4 tenths, the absolute max for me personally, that I could gain here. And I was running a little bit lower on the wings, not 11 wings. I think I was running like 11 wings at this point in the session, just to give me some stability. But we do a purple first sector. So far, you can see we're over 2 tenths up. This is actually a very, very nice lap so far. And I was just thinking in my mind, you just got to try and take the risk. If you take the risk, then you can start on pole. Then it's just going to make your race so much easier. Because in the race practice, I felt my race pace was extremely good, as I always say for most tracks, but round here it was actually particularly good compared to the competition. It was just my qualifying that I just was struggling a little bit. But you can see so far the middle sector, I wouldn't say was a wow factor or anything at all, although it says double purple. I don't know if that is really the case, but this last sector going pretty good so far. Quite cautious going into here because it's going towards the end of the lap. And in my mind, I was just thinking, I felt this was actually a pretty good lap. I was really not unhappy with this, to be honest. Definitely still a little bit of time, but we do improve ever so slightly. I really wanted like a 20.4 or something like that, but I didn't know if that was going to be enough. But coming towards the end of the session now, we'll be able to see we did come in P3, and you can see we're 6 tenths off overkills. And Dylan did a 20.1, and there was no way I could do that time. So I pretty much maxed out what I could do here. But starting this session, we did have a lobby reset because the game crashed. So we are all starting on fresh tyres now. And since I did my fastest lap on softs, that's why I elected to start on the soft tyre, because it'd be against the rules if it didn't. But we got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, waiting for them to go out. Let's see if I can get a good start, because the 2 ahead of me are on medium tyres. We get a pretty good start, but we just have nowhere to overtake. It's Monaco. You cannot overtake at all. And luckily, we've probably got out the most dangerous point in the race, which is the first lap. But thankfully, if you get a good grid position, you do make your life a lot easier. If you were starting in P10, it could get quite messy going down to there. But I was feeling really, really happy now that I've got out of that danger zone, and I knew it was going to be pretty much almost impossible to make an overtake on track. But if I could just not get any damage, no penalties, I knew that the race would really come to me, because I was planning to do the one stop going on the hard tyres relatively early in this race. But we're skipping already, and you might be thinking, why are we going full speed here? This is not the normal speed I'm going at. But you can see the end of that one, we've already got a full-blown safety car, and I'm not sure if that's because someone's retired or someone's crashed, but we do have a safety car, which is to be expected around Monaco. But as we're coming towards the end of the safety car period now, staying nice and close as I possibly can here, and the softs can go on for quite a while as well. So my strategy again was purely just not to get any damage. If you get damage, that's an extra 5 seconds onto your pit stop, and you're very vulnerable to being overtaken as well. So I was just thinking, just try and stay even as much as I can, because see, the gap has opened up a little bit, because the guys in front of the mediums were actually quite quick. But I was just at this stage just purely focused on not getting any damage. But as we have another safety car, so 2 safety cars already in this race, and just making sure we do not exceed that delta as much as we possibly can. But towards the end of this lap, I knew the Haas could go to the end. There's no guarantee of another safety car, so I decided to pit. I've actually made a strategic decision. So I've actually gone into the pits, putting on the hard tyre, and my intention now is to go to the very end of this race. And luckily, a few people behind me have followed that as well, but they are putting on the medium tyre, which it can get to the end, but it really starts to lose its pace in the last 10 laps. So, and since it's so hard to overtake around here, I just wanted to ensure I had a tyre that I could just push with at all times, as we're trying to get out ahead of my championship rival Jam Pancakes. And thankfully we do that. and that was crucial. If I got stuck behind him, that could have made my afternoon a lot worse than it is. But we come out on P7 because some people have already pitted. I think Clenzo and a couple of people ahead of him have already pitted, and there's some people who obviously haven't, like the 2 leaders as well. But we come to start this, getting on the power. Got a nice big gap behind me, and we've got the Renault of Clenzo ahead of me, who I believe is on the wheel here. And yeah, we're just ensuring that we're just getting to a nice rhythm of the race. Once you've been underneath a safety car, it could be quite easy to make a mistake since you're not used to going full speed. So I kind of really give myself a lap just to really get into the rhythm of it. But you can already see, I already felt that I was a lot quicker than Clenzo ahead of me, and we were actually putting away from Jam Pancakes already, who is on the controller, which is probably going to be the worst track for him, because the controller, I can imagine, and being a controller player myself, it's a incredibly difficult task to navigate around this track. But moving on towards the end of lap 12, and you can just see, I know we're just getting quite close now to the Renault, but no, not really taking any risks, as we've got another virtual safety car that has come out now. And yeah, it's I think how many is that? It's like 3 in 12 laps or something like that. But we'll go skip ahead once again. And a question I've been asked recently is, why do you leave such a big gap on the virtual safety car? And the reason why I do that is because the game can penalise you, and pretty easy, if you just go a fraction into the red, even when it says it's ending. Sometimes it doesn't give you a penalty, other times it does. I'd rather be safe and sorry. I'd rather lose a second than receive a 10-second time penalty or drive through. So that's the reason why I do that. Because say we've got a huge gap behind, and we lost a bit of time to Clenzo, but you could see under that braking zone, especially under braking, we just gain an absolute ton of time. And going through this last sector again, you'll be able to quite clearly see of how much time we're gaining and going into this penultimate corner just purely on the brakes, really, I think, and just carrying that raw speed through the corner. You could just see how much time we gained. We gained literally a second on him in those 2 sectors, and we actually are quite close going into this turn 1, but they're just not quite close enough. And once I'm behind him, and again you'll be seeing quite a bit of raw footage in this race because I think it's quite important. At this stage when I was behind him, my thoughts were really, they weren't on the championship or anything else. They were purely thinking about, where am I quicker than the Renault ahead of me? What opportunity is there to overtake him? Because I knew he had pitted, so I knew he probably wasn't going to be pitting again, because Hards could pretty much do the entire race distance pretty comfortably. And unless you're 5 lap fresher tyres, you're not going to be having a huge pace advantage over them. So I was really just trying to analyse where I was a lot quicker than him. And you can just see there, under braking especially, if we can get close into that chicane, there is definitely an opportunity going through there. But it is just super tight, and it's a risk. And at this stage, I am ahead of my championship rival, and I think I'm about 2 points behind him in this championship, with the second half of the season really have tracks that are very strong for me. So if I can get back in the championship lead in this race, I'd actually be very happy about. But of course, I want to try and maximise his points as much as I possibly can. And you can see, this is an area he seems to be a little bit slow coming off turn 1, and we seem to have quite good straight line speed. But again, there is just no room to overtake as we almost run into the back of him. So it just seems, under braking and just through the apex of the corner, we just carry so much more speed than him. And you can see we're just really hustling him now. And this is what I was trying to do. I was really just trying to force him into mistake as much as possible. But the bad thing is that he does potentially have DRS on his teammate out ahead of him. But yeah, I was just really just trying to put him under a lot of pressure. But the good thing is we are under no pressure myself from my championship rival Jam Pancakes, who is a very good driver, but there's only so much you can do with the tools you have in your hand, and he has a pad in his hand around this track, and so it's going to be very difficult for him to get a good result. But we're just trying to put as much pressure on Clenzo as much as I can, and just hoping he eventually cracks, because there's no room to really rest going around this track. And again, we seem to get a very good run coming off this last corner, but we're just not close enough going into turn 1, and hoping for a mistake again coming off here, but it just doesn't seem to be the case. But there is another virtual safety car now And I think again that's like 4 and 16 laps, so safety car galore coming on round here, and you'll be able to see skipping on ahead as the virtual safety car is ending. We once again leave a ton of space, and that is purely just a precaution because I just do not want to be getting a drive-through or a 10-second penalty when I'm in, I'd say probably a net P4, P5 at this stage in the race. So yeah, I just wanted to ensure I didn't get a penalty or anything at all. But you can see almost fixing the car again. We are right on the back of him and just putting him under so much pressure. Got a huge gap behind, and yeah, I felt there was an opportunity definitely going into the chicane after the tunnel. So I'm trying to get as close as I can. Coming off here, we're very, very close, and this is definitely an opportunity. But we have another safety car that has come out now, and yeah, that was frustrating because I felt that was probably my closest I've been coming off that corner so far. But we're going to leave this footage on because this is a crucial part in this race. The leaders haven't pitted yet, and I was really wanting Clenzo and the runner to really hurry up because there's an opportunity for me to jump the leaders in a pit. You can see we're plus 1.5 in a delta, so we are going far too slow here. We should be going much faster than this. No, we really need to pick up the pace. And coming across here, I don't know, no one's actually gone to the pits, but the leaders coming up pits, so I managed to jump a couple people. It's gone back into P5, and that is Dylan, who was the race leader, and he has just got out ahead of Clenzo. So between the two Renaults, and you can see we're a little bit frustrated there because if we went a bit quicker, we definitely could have got out ahead of him, and he would have been behind us. And although he would have had 10 lap fresher tyres than me in the hards, again, this is Monaco. It's pretty much impossible to actually overtake around this track. So that was very frustrating because that could have made a really big difference here. But I was really motivated now. Now we're in P4. After the result on where we started, I really wanted the podium. If I didn't get a podium around here, I would have been really gutted, to be honest. And I think we're in a net, well, we were not in a net P2. The two Renaults would start behind me in this race. I really felt I should be beating both of those guys. So again, try and stay as close as I can. We do have overkills and some people behind me who are on a little bit fresher tyres than me, but I felt my pace was very good around here. As the one of the Renaults has gone completely round, and that is a position completely gifted here. J-Rocks that was, who's just made a mistake, and then just emphasising you cannot relax around this track. There is no room really to relax at any point around this track. As you can see, Clenzo is starting to crack a little bit now, and I was just really hustling because you can see Dylan, because he got out ahead of him, he is just absolutely gone. And I felt if I could have got ahead of Clenzo, that could have been me as well. So I was getting increasingly frustrated because I knew I just had so much more pace than him at this stage in the race, and I just needed him to make a mistake. And you can see he hit the wall there, but I don't know if he got any damage from that. And now he's starting to lag ever so slightly as well. And you can see me, as usual, complaining when I'm in a race. But no, you can see drifting in and out, just weaving in and out, just trying to get as much as my car as I can in the mirrors here, taking a wide line to get a tighter line, and then try and see if there's any opportunity again. But no, he's lagging a little bit now, which is definitely not ideal coming off this track, and a little bit of dirty air. But this time I do have some pressure from behind, because the likes of Overkill's Danny, who are slightly fresher tyres me, and again he's lagging quite badly now, and we're going so much slower than we could be if we were in clear air. So I was really desperate. The move has to happen very soon, because I don't think I can survive the rest of this race probably without getting damage, because if you're too cautious around this track, that's when you're more likely to actually make mistakes. I really wanted to get clean air and just be as close as I can. So just taking a little bit of a wider line. This is one of the closest I've actually been coming into this corner. So I was thinking, I don't know what is going on here, but I thought I was closer than that, but he was actually lagging just too much. And you can see that was just a lap where a perfect example where there's just no place to overtake unless he makes a quite big mistake. Even if you're a second a lap faster than someone, it's so difficult to overtake, and that's why it's quite frustrating that we couldn't get ahead of Dylan. Although he would have been faster on those tyres, I think we definitely could have held him behind, and now he's leading this race. So no, it was frustrating, but I was just purely focused at this point on just trying to dispatch of this Renault as quick as I could. And seems to be he gets quite good exits now coming off that corner. But in the last sector, and you see under braking going through here, we just gain so much time under the breaker and in the apex of the corner. We gain an absolute ton of time, but he's just getting very good traction off the corners, which are quite important so far. Now he is lagging quite substantially at this point in the race, so I need to get past him. I just thought in my mind, if there's an opportunity, I'm just going to take it at this point here. So moving up, coming into the last corner, this is the closest that we have definitely been so far, and we've got a very nice run, and there's a little space on the inside, so we're going down the inside, just half down the inside, making a little bit of contact. Luckily he doesn't go into the wall, and again he gets a very poor exit, so we're going to move to the left hand side, trying to get the inside going into Casino, which we did, but he holds it around the outside and actually hits me. We go around the outside of him, going side by side. Somehow we don't have any damage. He actually ghosting, and then going into Danny F31 hits the rear end of me, and you can see I'm not happy about, but thankfully, which I've said probably for the millionth time this race, we did not get damage from that. And no, that was a pretty hair-raising moment, because that was the first real opportunity I've had, and I tried to take it, and fair play to Clenzo. He's actually defending remarkably well. He's not really making that many mistakes, and you know, I don't know how we didn't get any damage here, but now we're really putting on the pressure from him, and I just thought in my mind, there's no way that I'm coming out of this race not P2 here. I felt with this pace, as we get damaged now, because we got the dirty air from the Renault, and again, yeah, there's nothing really I could have done there. I couldn't have really turned any more than I did, but we still have the pace to actually fight him. And coming off here again, we always get quite good exits. Let's see how close I'm going to be this time. We're quite quick in a straight line here, and he's defending ever so slightly going through here, and I knew this was the corner where I probably had my best chance to actually overtake him, because unless I'm side by side going to here, it's just going to be a repeat of what we had on the other lap. So I knew coming off that last corner, that was going to be my best opportunity. So again, trying to be as close as I could going to, wasn't thinking about going down the inside here, because that is just pretty stupid place to actually overtake. But again, this is very close, probably the closest we have been once again. So what are we going to do here? He goes to the inside, we go to the outside, let him have the corner, and we can go for the switchback, and we get the move done. Finally, we get the move done into P2 in this race, and that is what I've been waiting for. I knew going down the inside probably wasn't going to be an option, so I just kind of did a dummy around the outside, let him go in deep, and I was going to say the word thankfully again, we, thank God, get the switchback on him to put me into P2 in this race. Dylan has just absolutely gone. There is no way we're going to catch him now, but it's crucial we get out of this DRS zone in case Clenzo gets overtaken by the McLaren of Danny F31 behind him. But you can already see from the minimap, we've actually started to pull away from him already, despite having that yellow wing damage as well. And no, Dylan at this stage in the race, 10 that fresher tyres with, I don't think he's got any damage. No, unless we have another safety car, there's no way we're going to win this race. So P2, I would be very happy with going into this, considering Jam Pancakes isn't exactly having an amazing race at this point so far. But coming off here, we'll be able to see the delta. I think we have already pulled a second, so going across the line, it is exactly 1 second. So within 2 sectors, we've already pulled out a second here, and towards the end of this race, this is a very familiar story. We just pulled out a really big lead in the cars behind. Dylan's already won the race, and we're going to come home this race P2 here, and we have moved back ahead into the championship lead. And I'm not sure if the standings have been updated yet. I'll leave a link down in the description for that. But yeah, I was really happy with that result, honestly. Really happy. If I drove a consistent, clean race, did a really good overtake when I needed to do it. A little bit disappointed that I couldn't get the win. I think if we were a little bit quick underneath the safety car of the 2 Renaults, then I think it would definitely have been possible. But no, I just did what I needed to do. And after a bad result last week, I will take that all day. Thank you so much for watching this. I really hope you enjoyed it. Apologies that it's been a long one. The next race highlights will be Canada, and the next live stream will be in a couple weeks time because we are on a bit of a break now. Thank you so much as well. Almost at 100,000 subscribers. I really don't know what to say. It's, yeah, I honestly cannot believe that. So thank you so much for the support on that and all my videos as you have done for the past 6 years. Thank you so much, and catch you soon. Peace.